My apologies. I have a case of the 12-year-old stole my charger.
You good, Ma. So hang on. I need to, you mind if I record this for my channel?
Nope, not at all. Knock yourself out. How do I look? Do I look cute?
You do. You look stunning.
Oh.
I
Your mother will be 50 years old soon. Hey, 50. Uh-oh.
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe it? I want to be 50 years old. You know what I want to do?
Oh my goodness. I don't believe it.
Donovan, did you ever get your passport? What's happening? What you say?
I need to plug this thing in, Mother. Hold on.
Okay. But did you get your passport? I saw today they put team up, said they're not giving no passports again. You have to wait.
No, I didn't get the passport, Mother.
Oh no, now they're saying they shut it down. You cannot get passports again for a while.
Thank you, Mommy, for joining me on my video. You look amazing as usual.
Thank you. You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me. Is my lighting good? How's my lighting?
The lighting is excellent. The lighting is beautiful. I wanted to come to you today and talk to you about some things. I was watching a video today about Breonna Taylor. She's a young woman who was murdered by the police. And a lot of the things about her story triggered me because I heard and lived these experiences before with you in our household. And I wanted to talk to you about your reaction to the story and how you feel about it.
This was, so being a survivor of gun violence, on top of the other things we've endured, I've discovered that situations, especially involving shootings and involving innocent victims, are very triggering to me. This one more so than ever because this was almost to the letter, copy of what happened to us. And by the grace of God, clearly God has work for us to do, and we have unfinished business here on this earth because only God prevented us from meeting the very same fate. And once we tried to report it, it was no easy task. Like, no one was sympathetic or empathetic to us. And to this day, there is, under no circumstances do I feel safe ever even attempting to report something to the cops. Like, it's sickening. I'm sickened by the fact that two people were in their home, minding their business, sleeping like we were, and these people think that they can aggress upon you, come to your home, violate your castle doctrine, and all of a sudden the Second Amendment doesn't apply to you. They kick, scream, stomp their feet about the Second Amendment and their right to protect their home and their guns and their family, only until your skin is brown, then that doesn't apply to you. And this woman was an essential worker. This woman was saving lives. She was on the front line, a civil servant, not unlike the cops. They're supposed to all be in tandem, fire, police, and rescue. And this is what you give this woman? None of that mattered. The fact that, God forbid, if one of those cops had gotten shot, she may be the one pulling up in an ambulance to save them. And none of her qualifications, none of her achievements, none of the minute details of her life or the grandiose ones matter.
Yeah, the irony of her position and the way that she was killed is astonishing. I mean, she literally was killed by someone who's supposed to be working in tandem with her, like you just said. I wanted to talk to you about the details of Breonna's case. So one of the reports that I read and watched earlier today from a news channel, I'll put the description of the news channel in the video and the link below, but one of what they basically said was that police officers were firing from multiple locations, both with and without a line of sight.
Of course, because they're bloodthirsty. There's a bloodthirsty, they're on code. And I've been saying this for years, they have an unspoken code. They all want to join the I Killed a Black Person Club. They're bloodthirsty. They out here bloodthirsty. And they're on code. And whatever it takes for them to get inaugurated into that club, they are stopping at nothing. They're stopping at nothing. Like no one should have to endure the disgrace and the degradation of being shot. No one. Personally, this is my existence.
Exactly.
It's dehumanizing. It's dehumanizing because, first of all, it's violent aggression on your physical person, on your body,
right,
in a way that we know oftentimes is fatal. Right. Most people do not survive a gunshot wound. I mean, a large proportion of people do survive, but it's not really survival because, trust me, the ramifications of how a person's life is when they have to survive something like that. It's never an easy course.
Right.
Neither is getting riddled with 8 bullets fresh out of the bed. I mean, and the unspoken trauma that her man has to endure, watching his life partner be murdered in their home. How do you get past that?
Yeah, and I just keep thinking about those moments right when we woke up and the banging was going on, and I just didn't know what was going on, and I just felt terrified in that moment, and I just think about Breonna's feeling when the bullets started to fly, and they started to hit her. It really. I think about that. I wasn't even there, but I feel the fear that when I watch the coverage, I feel the fear that I felt on that night.
It's palpable. I'm triggered by it.
Yeah.
I'm triggered by it. Like, I've lost sleep in the past few days. Literally last night. Of course, you know how I am. I use whatever the energy is. I try to
channel it and harness it into something.
Right. And so I harnessed it into doing my braids. I literally went to sleep 5:30 this morning. Because of the triggering from Breonna's case, I'm losing the ability to sleep again. And I struggled with that for so many years. Yeah. I am losing the ability to sleep because there is a fear. My thing is, if I'm awake, I can hear when the ring goes off, and I know who's in the neighborhood. I'm always at the windows watching. That's a horrible thing to have. And
nobody should have to feel like that and live that way. And no. I wanna also kind of go back to the details of the case. So so what the coverage showed in the video was that the police or the judge issued a no-knock warrant for 2 locations that night, and the officers in their report of the incident that happened with Breonna Taylor say that they both knocked and announced themselves as police.
Which is foolish because it's in contradiction to the
no-knock warrant that they were executing, right?
Since when are they going?
They were in plain clothes. They had a battering ram, which they did use, but then they're also saying that they announced themselves as police, and knocked.
What's the purpose of a no-knock warrant?
To knock, not to knock. The element of surprise, exactly. So. I wanted to briefly touch on how police officers in our situation and seemingly in this situation, most of the time craft a narrative around what happened. And that is most of the time a lie, or some of the time at least a lie, in order to usually a lie. Yeah, usually it's more favorable to the police officers. So now we know in this case that their facts are shaky and their facts are contradicting themselves in most cases. That's the same thing that happened in our case. So what do you want to say to the Taylor family about where to go from here?
So first and foremost, I want to say my condolences to the Taylor family and the family of the gentleman who survived. I mean, I have been where you are now. The only difference is Clearly, God had work for my son Donovan and I, and my son Devon, and for all of us to do, because He saw fit to spare our lives. And I mean, it is so palpable for me because I'm a survivor of gun violence. Like, I already went through that. I haven't even told many people. I've told my kids, but I have a perpetual fear that bullets attract other bullets. And that's been a fear of mine, that I feel like for some strange reason, I am going to get shot again. And so having gone through that, terrifying. Having heard that your daughter had to endure that and feel the piercing of the bullet in her flesh with the knowledge that she may be leaving this earth is horrific. I can't imagine what you're going through. The only consolation I can say is that she is not suffering pain. And I think that's really of no consolation, because she should not have had to endure that. Under no circumstance should she have had to endure that. However, I will say, you have Donovan and I and my family to stand with you in this. We won't leave you in this. We will stand with you and give you whatever tools we use and we employ to be able to get justice. First and foremost, let me tell you that the protection that the police and law enforcement use, qualified immunity, should not and does not apply in this instance. Qualified immunity requires them to qualify the facts of the case and qualify the facts of the merits of why they feel they're entitled to get a warrant for the arrest of a person. They did not do that. First and foremost, the individual was in custody. That means their chain of command and their checks and balances systems are deficient at minimum and completely broken at best. You deserve more than that. And so the first line is the judge. What is their fiduciary responsibility to ensure that the person that they're issuing a warrant for is not already within the custody? How did how did it break in that instance? What didn't they do? Secondly, the cops then had a fiduciary duty to do a search of this individual, check known locations. In order for them to check known locations, they would have been required to do some research. Had they done just the most basic research, a name search in the online judicial system that every municipality has.
Forget that. A name search on Instagram or Facebook would have been able to prove that this person no longer lived at Breonna's house.
But wait, bigger than no longer lived at her house. Well, every municipality has the online judicial system. Had they done a search of the online judicial system, as soon as you typed in the person's name, it would have came up and said incarcerated. That's basic tools that...
These are your own tools, right? These are your own internal tools that you could have used to prevent this.
It's available to the public and it's available to law enforcement. First and foremost to law enforcement. Why didn't they employ it? You know why? Because it wasn't about finding someone and arresting them. This was white, racist, on code, bloodthirsty, trying to join. This was their inauguration into the I Killed a Black Person Club. And I am very sorry to say it, but that is the long and short of it. I've been saying it for years. This is what this is. They're on code. They're not deviating from their tactics. Why are you so cowardice that you have all these tactical training, you have guns, and you have a team of people, and you still come to somebody's house and you're afraid of somebody in the middle of the night in the bed? Maybe the police department should stop hiring cowards first and foremost.
Right. So that takes me into my next question, or really statement. So with everything that we've endured, Mom, you and me and Devon and Nirvana, it's definitely lit a fire in me to be in a space where I can put content out that helps to elevate the minds of my peers, of the peers that look like me. You know what I mean? We need to elevate the minds of my peers so that we can start to engage in civics. We need to be in the spaces of the county clerk's office. We need to be in these jails as deputies and sheriffs and police officers and judges, so that we can start to make more intelligent decisions about how to police our area and how to police each other. But more than anything,
However,
we need to be able to bring humanity to these areas so that the way that you interact with these communities can be in a way that is humane and on par and on level with the rest of modern American society.
well, it needs to be consistent, because all too often what happens is people join law enforcement with good intentions, and then the absolute power goes to their head. And
Like in our case.
That's right. The absolute power goes to their head. What do they say? Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
I mean, it's unfortunate. There needs to be a humility factor. Maybe there should be some psychologists and some sociologists need to get together, and perhaps that's something we need to do.
Right.
Create a humility scale, and that should be a qualifying, questionnaire and exam to enter civil service, especially any civil service that allows you to control life or death. There needs to be a humility factor.
This is true.
Too many people who are aggressive, who were not raised with any humility. They have no, and listen, freedom of religion and separation of church and state, but then we need to know your humility, your level of humility.
Indeed. You spoke about something earlier on in our conversation, and I think you cited Hassan Minhaj from the Patriot Act. He did an episode about policing and about the tactics that the police use in their everyday work. So the person or the figureheads who okayed these tactics to be used in the police department or in the deputy's office or whatever, if that was a black face, that decision could have gone way differently. This is what I'm saying about civil engagement. This is the way that the civil engagement knife slices so deep for our skin complexion. If we occupy these spaces, we can make decisions that are going to affect the entire system. We can't going out and protesting is good. It brings a light to the situation. But we need to cut the system deeper and infiltrate deeper into the system in a way that protects our humanity as a people. Again, that's true, and that's because
are Stockholm survivors who are perpetual or willful students of Stockholm syndrome. They love their oppressor and they want to be the overseer on the plantation. And so there are many blacks in these positions, but they get into it because they have such inferiority or narcissism taking place that they need to be superior to others or to subjugate people. And those are the people that are typically getting into positions. And
right. This is another thing that I look at in that same vein. You have the initial people, and I was just talking about this about Black AF. I understand now what his disposition is, where you have the very select few who are able to break through and make it to a high level, but there is no one to be an accountability board.
That's right.
So that power is easily more corruptible if you have no one to hold you accountable that is your skin complexion, your color. That's why the number and the level of how many black faces are in these spaces needs to increase. That's right. Because if more of us are in these spaces, we'll be able to better understand the disconnect between the small decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis that are corrupt decisions and the larger impact on each other, because we are literally there face by face, side by side, colleagues, co-workers, employees. These black faces are occupying these spaces in a large way so that you never forget where you came from. And you never forget that these decisions that you're making are going to impact people. Because these are literally your colleagues and your co-workers. Because so that's why I say that that's why I say this neo-black success that we're seeing in our age range is going to be more amplified if people like myself, if people like you, if people like my peers start to spread the information around. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can attain success, you can be at the top of your game, but you need to do so in a thoughtful way that you can spread this information around to your peers and help everyone get educated and help everyone be engaged. I saw this one meme online, and it really, really was amazing. It was literally a meme of all these black people at a barbecue doing the cha-cha slide, and it said, if black people were on the same foot as much as we are during the cha-cha slide with everything else, we would be unstoppable. And that's the truth. That's the
Well,
truth.
here's something. Here's what I was interjecting. And it may seem like a point that is not relevant, but let me tell you how it's very relevant. So I think we are at the precipice of an upsurge, of that taking place. Something as simple as the Don't Rush Challenge. Because what it is doing is magnifying and amplifying to each other. We're celebrating our blackness. You understand? So, people do all kinds of challenges, but never before have I felt that we have unified so much. They did every single version of the Don't Rush. The black firefighters, black pilots, black doctors. I was astounded at some of them. Didn't know we had so many young black brother surgeons. You understand? And I think that recognizing each other, the passing of the torch, or whatever they were passing, makeup, brush, the passing of the torch is what is going to do it. It might seem so simple, like the Don't Rush. But what happens is when we start to view each other as beautiful, what we were saying is see us when we're down and see us when we're beautiful, and we're loving on each other. Right. That is the key to getting what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
That is the key.
Absolutely.
And we need to make think tanks. We need to make think tanks. This is where big mom, big sister, and auntie and uncle need to come in and talk to the youngest, and we need to get together. It needs to be intergenerational. It cannot be just young people, just old people. It has to be intergenerational, and it has to be respectful. The old people have to sit their ass down and listen to the young people's ideas too, and vice versa.
Right. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because the age of YouTube has now brought these stories to life and these situations to life.
Indeed.
A channel that's called Grapevine is actually doing a very good job at what you're talking about, these intergenerational discussions on a whole host of topics that really affect all the different types of black people and others. You know what I'm saying? Like, these discussions are happening, and that's why I love the age of technology that we're in. But I want to circle back around to say that what you and I are discussing and what we'll be publishing on our channel going forward, the main message and the main idea behind my channel is to really help people to see that this whole idea of my one vote doesn't matter, or my one whatever doesn't matter.
Opinion.
My one opinion doesn't matter. Oh, I'm not going to care about this because it really doesn't affect me, or it's not what I have to say or what I have to think isn't going to make a big difference. Like you said, isn't going to affect change. We need to abandon that idea.
That's right.
Because one, you taking the time out to engage yourself in policy or in politics or in civics or in whatever it is that you can engage yourself in is one more thing that wasn't done yesterday. And if you do that one more thing and you spread that information around, you tell all your friends, let's go to this city council meeting. You tell, regardless of what it's for, let this be a way. Exactly. Let's go to
the city council meeting challenge.
Right. Let's make the challenge too. Let's run for city council. Right. Let's run for these positions. Right. Let's do research and approach the people that are running for these positions and and tell them, okay, we're not voting for you if you don't do this and that.
There are PACs that are out there that will assist you if you have a desire to run for office. There are political action committees out there, whether it be for women, young people, socially disenfranchised people that may not have the financial wherewithal, but they have the desire and the drive, and they're a community activist. That's what and sometimes it has to start on the grassroots level.
Right.
Get into community activism. Don't just wait till the tragedy hits your door. Oftentimes, that is the number one leading cause for people to become activated and be community activists, because it landed on their door. or their sister or their cousin or somebody they know. We got to stop that. We got to be proactive.
Right.
We have to be proactive. We have to be out there marching side by side with sisters and brothers. God forbid, when their families are victimized or when their children are lost or whatever, before it hits us. So that when God forbid, if your time comes, that people will stand with you. You understand? We have to galvanize ourselves and be proactive in this. You're 100% right.
Absolutely.
And we have to shore our people up. We have to do more than to shore up our youth that are the athletes. They deserve respect. There's a lot to be said for being an athlete and having a conditioned body and having strength and skill there. But we also need to shore up our intellectual children that are out there doing the do, that are smart, that we know can go the distance and be a politician. We have to shore them up. And we do have politicians, black politicians. We need to support them.
Right.
When we do so, and we need to keep them accountable. We need to keep them, when we see them, we need a politician checklist, an ABC checklist of accountability. If they are not being accountable, I don't want them to just show up at churches when it's time for votes.
Right.
I want them to, when I'm out in the community and I'm doing community activism like I've been doing for years, I want to see you there. Put your Rockport walkers on and get out there when there's a shooting in your community. Don't just be making a statement to WSB. Get in the community. Let us know that you ride for us.
Exactly.
Just like what's happening with Ahmaud. Justice for Ahmaud. So many people have converged on Brunswick, Georgia now. They got black people walking up and down the street all day. They must be losing their mind right now. Right. If one black man walking up your street bothered you, I saw a group of guys from Texas drove all the way to Georgia so that they could go walk. They said, we run with Ahmaud. I run with Ahmaud. I walk with Ahmaud. They're doing the whole trail that he was walking. Molly and them just went down there Saturday. I was supposed to go, but I had a job to do. They just took a bunch of people, all the community activists that I've been doing stuff with, they all converged on Brunswick, Georgia to stand up for them. I want us to be proactive like this prior to another one of us getting in the ground. Right. I don't want all of our activism to be at the, as a response to the loss of life or severe injury. I want it to be in advance of that. Yeah. And you know what's so funny? When I started to produce content, I purposely used the channel that I used to put out our video because of... That's smart, because it's established. Because it's established already. But then when I started to put content out, there was this pit in my stomach that was saying, you're going to eventually need to talk about this video in your new life form or in your new life, because you need to get this off your chest. But more than anything, you need to tie together what you're doing now to where it came from. Because for my viewers and for the people that are going to subscribe to this channel, I need y'all to know that this isn't about just... It's not clout chasing. It's not clout. Exactly. It's not clickbait. This is not rating. This is activism at its finest. This is activism and care for your community. And really, I'm really doing this so that someone else can see this and understand that you can do more than what you are doing. And it's not going to be more hard. It's not going to be more difficult than you think it is. It's not going to be impossible. Look at Ocasio-Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's our age. She decided that she was going to run for Congress, and she did it, and she won. And she was working in a bar at the time. You know what I'm saying? So she did it, and she won. But the only reason why... She knows her stuff. And she studies. And she's an intellectual. And that's what I'm saying. But she is a person who had her wits about herself and felt like she needed to do something. And I know there's a lot of us that are out there. I myself am one of them. We feel like we need to do something, and we need to do something with the anxiety that we feel, with the fear that we feel, but also with the love that we have for our own community. I'm proud of you. I feel like this. So proud of you. And I appreciate that. And I think this talk, definitely between us, was a long time coming, and I thank you for having it with me. And you're absolutely welcome. If I could say anything about the last, 10, 15 years of our life,
even when I was going through the tough times and I was in the thick of it, and we all were in the tough times, we were going through the thick of it, I may have had an initial reaction, but there was always something in the back of my mind that knew this is happening for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So everything that took place, although I wish things could have been differently, I'm not upset at how things happened. Even though a lot of bad has happened, I'm not upset about it because it brought me here, how I feel right now, and all the lessons that I've learned right now. I could not have imagined learning them any other way.
And it goes down to that simple scripture: "No weapon formed against us shall prosper." So many people misinterpret that scripture and think nothing is supposed to happen to us. That's not at all what it says. What it says is weapons will be formed against you, but if you walk according to my will and my way, they will not prosper against you. That means you will rise above it. And I knew, even in the midst, first and foremost, there's something that I've needed to say to you a long time coming. Thank God that you had the wherewithal. You've always been a techie kid. You've always been my techie child. Thank God you had the wherewithal in the midst of all of that chaos that happened that night to record. Or we would have been a blurb on the news and a dusty picture. We would have been a dusty picture on somebody's bookshelf or mantle, because there would have been nothing to represent us. Now you know why I always say, and to all of our people out there, record everything. Keep your phone charged and record everything. What is my policy? I always say, I don't do my word against yours, boo. I do your word against yours. Had we not had that video that you made, we would not have had a leg to stand on, no matter how right we were.
Right.
God would have preserved our life, but we wouldn't have had legal standing. We would not have had the success that we had in the case.
Right.
We would not have had it had it not been for you. And thank you for that. And that's why I said this fight is intergenerational. Because as an older person, as a mother, my first and foremost fiduciary duty was to protect y'all. I wanted to protect my children. And I did the things that I knew as an old schooler to protect my children. You guys, as another generation, automatically know, capture this, memorialize this in time, record this. Thank God you did it. These people lied their behinds off. What did they do afterwards? They had to go back and change. That's what helped us, because they went back and tried to amend their initial report because they didn't realize you were videotaping it. Remember?
I remember.
They didn't realize. They lied and said they lying. We never said none of that. And while we had audio, listening to them, calling y'all all kinds of names, cursing y'all, calling y'all disrespectful, disparaging things from one black man to another black man. If you did not have the wherewithal to do that, where would we be? There are so many nameless, faceless black people whose stories are not able to be told because nothing was there to memorialize. I thank God that there's a level of strength that God has imbued me with, you, your brother, and your sister. I will not claim it. I will not claim ownership of it as if I am some superior being. All I will say is thank you, God, for thinking us so special and for thinking it not robbery to keep us here. I could not imagine. I could not imagine this having turned out different. Like, hell will have no fury. I am not that black mother that's all, oh, we just gonna say we forgive them. No. Father God, don't ever make me have to have that conversation. To the death of me, I will fight for my children and my people. But my children, y'all know me. I don't play about my kids. I'm Tiger Mom. You can come against me with anything. Come against me with any weapon you want. I pick and choose my battles. But when it comes to my seed, my children that grew in my womb and fertilized and blossomed in my womb, hell have no fury like a woman's scorn. I rip the moon out the sky for y'all. And I mean that. And that will never change. You hear me?
Right.
You've seen your mother as a single mother, divorced mom, struggle and do everything for y'all to keep y'all on the path.
Yeah.
When it comes to a true parent, will stop at nothing for their children. When you was in college and I was busting my neck to pay that tuition and take care of your brother and sister at home, I was working for the government. When that money got tight, what I did, I threw a weave in and went and got delivering pizzas that night. I wasn't proud of it, but there was no shame in that green dollar. You understand?
Right.
My intent was to educate my child. If I had to deliver pizzas to put you through college, baby, I'd be like, you want chicken or you want beef? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
A parent will stop at nothing for their child. A parent will stop at nothing for their children. And I want to offer my condolences as the mother and the head of this family to Breonna's mother and her family, as well as her, I'm sorry, I don't know her boyfriend's name, to his family as well, and to the nameless, faceless sufferers that have succumbed to this sort of violence, and those names that we know. Because I have so many sisters in this struggle, and we are sisters in this struggle. And I want you to know, I stand with you and for you. I stand in the gap for you, and I will tell all of your stories. Donovan and I will tell your stories. Believe that. As a mother, I cry your tears and I know your pain. You don't cry alone. I pray for you guys all the time. Even, God forbid, those who have yet to occur, I pray for them. Because I've walked that journey, both personally as a son. I'm a 20-year survivor of gun violence, shot in my face. So when I hear these stories, trust me, I'm a 20-year survivor of survivor's guilt. Because I feel for everyone who doesn't make it. I feel for you guys. And so know that you're not alone. You don't suffer alone.
You're not alone.
And it may not seem like there's any consolation, but trust me, there is a silver lining in this. God is calling you to something greater than yourself. Listen to him. Hear what he has to say and do the work.
Absolutely. And that was beautifully put, Mom. I could not have said it any better myself. So,
and if you or anyone you know has been a victim of gun violence and you need someone to talk to, you need a blueprint on how to make it through this journey, whether you yourself were shot or your family member was shot or you lost your child, family, brother, sister, whoever, reach out to nirvanaprojectinc.org. That is nirvanaprojectinc.org. We have a facet of the Nirvana Project nonprofit called SHOT, Survivors Helping Others Through. We will help you through your journey. It doesn't matter what time of the night or day it is. Go on our website. Our number and our information is listed. Give us a call. There is no time limit for you to be able to call us. We are here for you. You can reach out to Donovan. You can reach out to me. I'm N.I.R.V.A.N.A. We're here for you.
Mom, drop your Instagram name.
Oh, I don't know my Instagram name.
Okay, y'all. All right. So I'm going to put my mom's Instagram information over here.
I speak true.
Or over here or down there. I'm going to put my mom's Instagram information on this video, and you guys can follow her on IG. I'm going to put the information for our website on the description. You'll definitely be able to click on that link below. Please tune in again. Tune in more frequently. We're going to be dropping more and more content all the time. The content, as you guys already know.
I live Facebook. So
But I want to put my mom's Facebook up there. And you guys definitely stay tuned. I know this channel is about Black culture, politics, and news, but the real message is activism. The real message is doing something. And hey, Bon Bon, say hi to everybody. Say hi to my channel and my subscribers.
This is the Nirvana Project.
Nirvana of the Nirvana Project.
Nirvana is an acronym. The Nirvana stands for, it's an acronym for Necessary Initiatives Reinforcing Values and New Attitudes.